marks. Everybody wants to know what's wrong with the aces. Becky Hammond right about now, but we are about to get underway, and we are.
Right away is the defensive matchups right now for the Indiana Fever, putting length. Natasha Howard on Chelsea Gray.
And that's one thing that Becky Hammond wants to see, Jackie Young attacking the basket. She's 9th in the league in scoring. Here's Caitlin Clark. Jackie Young starts on her. We expect to see a lot of different defenders, and there's the two-man game.
Those two players are elite in the two-man game, and Becky Hammond was talking about how important they are going to be defending that point of attack against the Indiana Fever.
When Clark was out, Boston's field goal attempts were about half of what they were when Caitlin was playing, and that's a good sign for Jewel Lloyd, who has taken a lot of threes this year, not done much attacking.
Yeah, just the aggressiveness offensively.
Kia Stokes with the defensive play.
Again, on this end, Caitlin Clark has a defensive assignment against Kia Stokes, of course, giving up a ton of inches, but the Vegas 8 don't typically take advantage of that.
Wilson showing great patience, drew 3 bodies, tipped it to herself to keep the thing low for them. Clark picked up, and then the cut by Hall. Shot clock winding down, Boston back rims it. Stokes comes up with the rebound. Lloyd, not shy, takes the shot. You see Stokes coming out. They are picking up Caitlin early, but she'll still take the long 3.
Jackie Young with a primary defensive assignment on Clark as well. A big, strong, physical defender.
0 for 2 from the floor so far this afternoon. Stokes got to take it away by Clark. He read it perfectly. Here she is on the move, has Howard, and caught her in mid-step.
That's a huge key for Vegas, is to take care of the ball. It can lead to numbers the other way. Beautiful 3-on-1 fast break that time by Indiana.
Yeah, so scary when they get out into the open floor like that. Young gets around the Wilson screen. And for Indiana. Wilson goes right at Boston, a couple of former South Carolina Gamecocks. And the officials say it stays with folks, as you mentioned, not known for shooting. It gives them other elements on the floor. Asia with the miss from the baseline. And now Boston able to bring the ball up. Gets it from Caitlin and nails it.
There it is again, the two-player game, and how high they're getting picked up and just able to thread the needle. Chelsea playground as well, Pam Ward.
Chelsea in her 11th year now in the WNBA. Lloyd with the miss. Vegas has missed 5 straight shots. Caitlin already with 3 assists and gets it over to Hall.
Indiana is as good as any team with that baseline cut when they are overplayed. The bench players as well.
Jackie Young, good look at the 3. Clark coming up with the rebound. Caitlin has assisted on all 4 made field goals for Indiana in this game. Howard from the outside drains the 3.
Indiana's looked really good and connected on the offensive end of the floor. Kelsey Mitchell has barely gotten a touch yet. That's their second leading scorer on the season.
Yeah, good point. She's not taken a shot yet. It's a 9-0 Indiana run. Asia attacks.
I mean, when she gets the ball at the elbow area and is allowed to go left or forces her way left, she's so difficult to defend.
Her first basket, missed her first 3 shots of the game. A terrific bounce pass. Clark on the money to Boston. Caitlin blown by Jackie Young, gets it inside to Howard. Good defense. First by Stokes, and then by Wilson to force the turnover. Gray left open for 3. She'll take it and hit it.
When the Vegas was making their championship run, Chelsea Gray was an elite three-point shooter in terms of her percentage and accuracy doing so. And talking about accuracy, this pass was simply ridiculous. Caitlin Clark wrapping it around, throwing it to where her teammate should be. There's two defenders between Caitlin and the lane, and just right out of the reach of Jackie Young, and delivers it beautifully.
Clark already with 5 assists, has yet to score. Now Stokes got her up in the air. And then Caitlin threw it away. Clark leading the league in turnovers this year. And that is given right back.
A'ja Wilson, when she catches at either of the elbows, I mean, she can just shoot, handle, pass, and especially when she gets to go back to her strong left side, it is really tough to keep her from scoring.
A'ja Wilson, 3-time MVP, including last year. She was a unanimous pick. Block on Turner. So Brianna Turner getting an early look for the Fever. Doesn't get a whole lot of playing time, but gives them some size.
And a really good defender, and it could be a good matchup against A'ja Wilson on this end of the floor.
Always a challenge. Young. Sophie Cunningham in the game with some good defense, but Jackie got 3 chances. Young coming off a 22-point game in which she hit 4 threes in a game against Seattle.
A'ja Wilson, one of the best defenders in the WNBA, and her versatility, hedging out, helping, then still recovering for the backside block on Turner, using her quickness and agility out on the perimeter and recovering as well.
So great on both ends of the floor, leading the league in blocks again this year. And Jackie Young has just picked up her 2nd personal foul, so she heads to the bench for Vegas.
They're going to miss her not only on the offensive end, but she's been the primary defender on Caitlin Clark.
And they bring in Dana Evans, who came over from Chicago. Tiffany Mitchell, who was at Connecticut and played for Stephanie White last year. And Sid Colson coming back to Vegas, gets the assist right away.
Sid went up to shoot that shot and saw the long arm and hand of A'ja Wilson coming over, and last minute dropped it off to turnover. Or to first, he knew it was going to be a block if she did it.
Yeah, discretion, the better part of valor. In that instance, Mitchell chases it down. And then great hustle rebound by Hall to follow. Caitlin Clark not on the floor right now.
Colson did it again.
That was a pass?
It certainly was. And whatever I'm doing right now, A'ja Wilson's right there to stop it.
He's trying to keep it away from A'ja. Evans with the floater over Wilson. Cunningham coming up with the rebound. Sophie Cunningham giving Coach Stephanie White some punch off of the bench. Offensively, and certainly not afraid to get into the mix when the game gets physical. Kelsey Mitchell, such an elite scorer.
So much space, too, for Kelsey Mitchell to operate, being able to drive to her strong left hand. Nobody in the lane to help.
Now they bring the trap over on Gray. Nye left open. Usually she's lethal from out there. Was a terrific three-point shooter in college at Alabama.
Indiana's been really good in their rotation off of their traps so far in this quarter.
Mitchell, one of the all-time great scorers in the history of women's basketball. In the NCAA, Gray almost took it away. 11 seconds to shoot.
Sid Colson knows very well what A'ja Wilson can do on the defensive end of the floor. They were teammates for a long time. Oh, nope, now I'm going to pass it to my cutter. And then right after that, coming in, thinking about throwing it up. And if she does, she knew it was going to have to be a high arcer or a pass back to Turner.
Mitchell driving on Nye. There's the double brought by A'ja. Cunningham with the miss.
Really good flare screen by Brianna Turner, though, that helped Cunningham get an extra second for that shot.
Mitchell driving to the basket and drew the foul.
Becky Hammond wants her team to really share the ball and move it quickly, and that was a really nice example of them doing that, switching sides of the floor, having some velocity on their passes as well.
Cunningham picked up the foul. That is the first on Sophie, and it sends Tiffany Mitchell to the line. Upcoming WNBA national TV schedule, doubleheader Thursday on Amazon starting at 7 Eastern, LA at Indiana. Then Washington goes to Vegas. Ion has Indy at Dallas and New York at Phoenix on Friday. And next Saturday on ESPN, Chicago plays at LA. Go to WNBA.com or visit the WNBA app.
How about the start by the Phoenix Mercury, especially lately how they've been shooting the 3-ball as well?
Yeah, a lot of new faces there in the post-Diana Taurasi era. Alyssa Thomas leading the league in assists. Right behind her is Caitlin Clark.
Double drag screens continue to work well for the Indiana Fever, and that time, again, Aaliyah Boston catching on the roll and finishing what looked like an easy one.
Boyd, short on the 3, Cunningham picks it up. Caitlin, shot is off. She has missed all 3 of her shots this afternoon, and nobody's given up the ball. They let them play on. Cunningham to Clark, to Hall.
How about the big girls, though, diving on the floor for the loose ball?
Nice specialty from the corner.
And another really nice possession by Vegas, switching sides of the floor, moving the ball quickly to the open shooter.
Vegas with a foul to give. Hull gets right in the thick of things again. Mitchell ties it up. And we'll have a jump ball. Chelsea Gray coming back into the game with just under 31. And Asia Wilson on the bench. Taking a little bit of extra time. It's just amazing that Tiffany Mitchell back dealt with sepsis last year, literally a life-threatening situation after she had what should have been a routine procedure. Steph White talked about that before the game. She was her head coach at Connecticut.
Yeah, she's trying to violate. She hurt something, and they were subbing Chelsea Gray in for Mitchell. But she has to be the one to take the jump ball. But she's trying to intentionally violate so that she can get out of the game.
She wasn't even going to attempt to jump.
Yeah, she looks like she's limping off the floor.
And Mitchell heads out, and Gray does come back in. And Tiffany Mitchell. Training staff. Caitlin's not scored yet, but does have 6 assists. Colson got Lloyd up in the air. Here's the floater. Cunningham making a difference on the boards. Boston working against Stokes. Tough shot by Aaliyah Boston.
When she catches the ball with her 2 feet in the paint like that, she is the most efficient player in the WNBA right now.
Gray trying to beat the buzzer, and of course she does. Chelsea Gray with that. She did a good job on Asia Wilson, said she wanted to make her life difficult, and Asia only got 1 basket in that first quarter, and that's a good way to start things off defensively.
Yeah, Indiana continuing to trap Gray.
And Asia Wilson starting the second quarter on the bench. Nye Evans, 2 bench players in there to start the quarter. Clark again.
Great job. First by Caitlin Clark, snaking the screen, and then recognizing the switch happen. You have the much smaller Evans on Aaliyah Boston, making it look easy.
Boston 6 of 7 from the floor. Colson picked Evans' pocket, and then a little bit of a collision. Boston knocked it out of bounds. 9 seconds to shoot.
Again, in the 2-player game, snake the screen and then just recognize the switch. And instead of coming back to screen again where you can get the switch back, Aaliyah Boston smartly just goes down the lane and Caitlin finds her.
And Dana Evans listed at 5'6". So big-time mismatch. Gray, a little bit of space over Cunningham, and she does it again.
She has a knack, whether it's the end of quarters or end of shot clock, of draining those.
And the three falling for Kelsey Mitchell. Vegas trying to snap a 3-game losing streak. They've dropped 5 of 6. Chancy pass. Colson read it perfectly. It's a 2-on-1. Sydney gets it to Mitchell, but that was a tough shot. Trying to contort her body under the basket. And it goes back to the Aces.
And Chelsea Gray and her ability to beat the clock. And here just comes off and she's shifty and has just enough on a lean back on her shot to be able to shoot it over most. And talked early in the first quarter about Kelsey Mitchell not looking to shoot a lot or not getting a lot of touches. Well, she's come alive a little bit since then.
And Mitchell went over the 4,000-point mark in her career earlier this season. Wilson over Boston. Howard gets it over to Clark. Caitlin 0 for 4 from the floor. She has missed 10 straight threes. Going back to her last game where she was 0 for 7, only the second game in her career in which she did not hit a three. Boston turns. Howard got it knocked away. Good play by Gray. Kelsey into Asia, who couldn't field it cleanly, but she stayed with it. Good pace now for Indiana. This is what Clark can bring you, and just that little hesitation. She lost Lloyd, but missed the shot. 9 for 3.
How good has Aaliyah Nye been so far this season for Vegas? And Becky Hammond just raves about her motor, how hard she works, brings great size and physicality on the defensive end.
Second-round pick out of Alabama, and Caitlin Clark finally scores her first basket. As usual, a lot of Indiana/Caitlin Clark fans in the stands. Gray, short, she knew it, so she followed it up. Tipped it back to Evans, who buried it.
How about that on that play? Chelsea Gray goes in, gets an offensive board and an assist all in one motion by hitting that ball out.
She knew pretty much after she took the shot it was going to be short. Wilson picked up Clark, and then great patience by Boston.
And it really is a good sign for Caitlin Clark on a day where she's struggling to score and shoot a little bit, that she's still finding other ways to really be involved on the offensive end. 8 assists already in this game. Indiana with a 2-point lead.
We'll take a little break on the bench. Pam Ward, Rebecca Lobo, and Angel Gray joining you from T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Wilson.
That time, Asia Wilson gets switched off onto Sydney. Colson does a great job of disrupting and deflecting the pass.
Colson a little slow to get up, and here in Las Vegas, great locker room presence, one of the connectors that you talked about that is so important for Becky Hammond. And now she is playing for the Fever. Wilson's had to work for every inch of real estate down there, and that one's short.
Outstanding defense by Aaliyah Boston, because Vegas likes to clear out the left side of the floor for Asia Wilson to go to work.
Oh, gets a good look from the corner. Oh, knocking down the 3. Extends the lead up to 5. Biggest lead of the game so far for the Fever. Young gets her own miss, but Natasha Howard got a hand in there. Colson running the show with Clark on the bench.
Again, though, double drag action. It's worked really well for them.
Boston and Wilson. Good little matchup. A little bit of space. Boston got the roll.
Vegas isolating Asia on the left side. Indiana isolating and clearing out for Boston on the right side. Just South Carolina big going after South Carolina big.
It's a 7-0 run. Wilson frustrated. No foul call. What a pass to Mitchell. On the run, and Becky Hammond, Brianna Stewart last week. That's the first three for Caitlin. 0 for 7 in her last game and had missed her first three this afternoon.
And Asia Wilson can defend on the perimeter, and she got switched out onto to know that she can get it done on the offensive end. So the previous possession gets it, scores, and then look at her, like, finally I got one to fall defensively. I mean, this is as good as it gets. High hands, she's right there. Caitlin can just score over many players who are playing good D.
Young driving against Clark. Wilson with an open three. That's off the mark. Lloyd kept it going. And the ball hits air and goes back to the Fever.
Did you have to add the ball hits air part?
Yeah, nothing but air. Vegas only shooting 34% from the floor. They are dead last in the league in field goal percentage this season. We're used to seeing them near the top. There was a little bit of a tie-up, and they're going to call an offensive foul on Natasha Howard.
Really good defense that time by Asia Wilson on the switch out to Caitlin. Kept her in front of her, didn't let her get to the left step back for a shot. You see it here, just steps out, high hands, doesn't let her get the space on the left side. Just really, really well done, especially for a big.
Nye back in the game for Vegas. Gray takes it into her own hands. Mitchell on the switch, so Boston has the mismatch against Young. They go in.
And that's what you have to do, because Mitchell did not have the angle to deliver it from the wing. So where do you go? You go to the high post and look for the high-low. Beautifully executed by the Fever.
Just that extra pass made all the difference. So we hit 2 minutes to go in the half. Asia on Boston. It's been a treat watching that matchup. Clark took it away from Boston to get the rebound. Asia 2 of 12 now from the floor. Boston matched up down low against Lloyd. Paul can't get it to her and then threw it in the middle. Shot clock.
That's in a situation where Howard needed to flash into the middle. So Leah Boston, the work she was doing, she continued to hold the seal, made herself available for the high-low look inside. Post players do most of their work before they get the catch.
Boston with 18 points already. Last 2 games averaging 21.5 per game. Triple team on Wilson, and finally she draws the foul. Indiana wanted the tie-up.
3-time MVP, and for good reason. She does so many things well on the floor, so the attention is going to be there. But visibly frustrated, just 2 for 12 from the floor right now. She went back to the huddle, and she just took a deep breath. Becky Hammond looked at her and said, I know. Take a moment, take a beat. She said, let me see those hands. Started rubbing her hands and said, you are going to do better in this game, and almost manifesting her to be better from the floor, guys.
That's all it takes. Becky Hammond rubbing your hands.
Magic hands of Becky Hammond, who was such a tremendous player. Oh, goes out of bounds.
Normal game. Caitlin Clark shoots that 3.
Yeah. WNBA Pride presented by Coach of the WNBA. Inside a minute now. And there's a whistle out on the floor. That's another foul on Hull.
Yeah, Hull just trying to do what she can to be physical with Jackie Young, but definitely limiting her freedom of movement, so the officials making the call.
We're on January, coming over to have a chat with head coach Stephanie White. Jackie Young heads to the free throw line. 89% on the season. Indiana has not taken a free throw in this first half. Vegas is 6 for 6.
I think this has been a relatively cleanly played game and a well-officiated game so far. Not that there's been any conversation about WNBA officiating in the last week.
Foul to give for Vegas. They don't take it, and Clark barely ticked the front of the rim. Frustrating first half for Caitlin from the floor. Clark, 5 points on 2 of 8 shooting, but does have 8 assists. Directing traffic. And now she's got Wilson on her. The 222s. Chance and some time now for Vegas. Young fires. And that is the end of the first half. Indiana leading it 42-36. They have assisted on 7.